Hello, my name is Ben Teacher, and today we're going to learn about constellations. Now, let's think, what is a constellation? Well, here we have a picture of some famous constellations, and constellations are pictures or shapes made from patterns of stars in the sky. Now, why did ancient people use or make constellations? Well, they had a few reasons. Sometimes it was part of their religion. Their gods were part of the constellations. Sometimes they used them when they sailed on the sea. Now, back then, there was no Naver Maps, there was no Google Maps. So they had to follow the patterns of stars that they saw in the sky to know where they were and where they were going. Sometimes it was to keep track of time. As the Earth turns, the position of the constellation changes. So they would use them to keep track of time. Now, let's practice some of our vocabulary for today. You can follow along in your worksheet right here on page 2. So, our first word is, of course, constellation. Here again, we have some beautiful constellations, which are pictures or shapes made from patterns of stars in the sky. Connect. The stars connect to form a constellation, like a connect the dots pattern. Ancient. Ancient people a long time ago used constellations. Guide. Here's a guide. To guide is to help someone or show someone something. Here's a guide. Landmark. A landmark is a special or important place. Landmark. Direction. North, east, south, and west are directions. Pattern. As we talked about, constellations are made of patterns of stars. Here we have a lovely pattern of big stars and little stars. Mythology. Constellations are related to mythology. So here we have some important people from Greek mythology, like Zeus, like Hades. Mythology. Rotate. Rotate is to turn or to spin. Rotate. Dipper. Dipper, this is like a ladle, something you use to pick up soup or maybe a drink. Navigate. Navigate to find where you're going or to follow directions. Navigate. Visible. If something is visible, it means you can see it. If it's invisible, you can't see it. Visible. All right. Now let's follow along in our worksheets. Constellations are like, what's this? A connect the dots puzzle. Constellations are like connect the dots puzzles in the sky. People have looked at stars for thousands of years, just like we talked about, ancient people, and imagined connecting them into patterns, just like we talked about. These patterns of stars are called constellations. Now, bright stars are like landmarks in the sky. You can use them as your guides to find other constellations. Two famous landmarks in the northern sky are the Big Dipper and the North Star. The Big Dipper, also called Ursa Major, and the North Star, or Polaris. If you can find the North Star, you will always know which direction is north. Now, the stars you can see change during the night because Earth is rotating. Earth is rotating, turning all the time. So the stars and the constellations change. The stars you can see also change with the seasons because the Earth circles around the sun. So we see different stars. It also depends on where you are. People living in Argentina can't see the North Star, and people living in Korea can't see the same stars that people can see in Argentina. Cassiopeia is a really famous constellation that is most visible in November. It has a clear, let's take a look. It has a clear W shape, like the letter W. Cassiopeia is a queen in Greek mythology who bragged about her beauty too much. And that made Poseidon very angry, so he sent her to the sky. Next, we have Polaris, or the North Star. It is the brightest star in the Ursa Minor constellation. Sailors traveling at night used Polaris to navigate. We also have Ursa Minor, which is most visible in June. It is made up of 7 bright stars in the shape of a dipper, which is why we call it the Little Dipper. And there it is. See how it's shaped like a dipper or a spoon? Ursa Major, which is also called the Big Bear or the Big Dipper, is visible all year round. You can see it all the time. It is also made up of 7 stars. A group of 7 stars make up the shape of a dipper, which is why we call it the Big Dipper. The Big Dipper is just part of Ursa Major, which is the bear's tail. There's the Big Dipper, and there's the whole constellation. So Ursa Major stars in famous paintings. It's in one of Vincent van Gogh's paintings. You can see it in the night sky. It also appears on Alaska's state flag. In America, Alaska's flag features the Big Dipper, and there's Polaris in the corner. Okay. Orion is another famous constellation. It's most visible in January, so maybe you can see it this month. It has an hourglass shape with Orion's belt in the middle. Those 3 stars right there are Orion's belt. Orion is the strong hunter in Greek mythology, and he is the son of Poseidon. Poseidon is the god of the sea in Greek mythology. So it has an hourglass shape. There's Orion's belt right in the middle. And there's Orion the hunter. Now, let's review and remember to follow along in your worksheet. So here we have 4 of the constellations that we just learned about. So we're going to think and write the answers. This constellation has a shape of a dipper. The brightest star of this constellation is called Polaris. Which constellation is this? That's right, it is B, the Big Dipper. All right. Next, you can see a clear W pattern in this constellation. The name is from a queen. And this one is A, Cassiopeia. This constellation was named after the strong hunter. He is Poseidon's son. We just talked about him. This one is D, Orion. And finally, the Big Dipper is part of this constellation. It is the bear's tail. The bear's tail. That's right, Ursa Major. So make sure you mark your answers in your worksheet. Next, let's finish the sentences with some of our new vocabulary words. Let's fill in the bubbles. A constellation is a blank that a group of stars make. What is a constellation? A constellation is a pattern that a group of stars make. The Eiffel Tower is a famous what in Paris, France? What's the word we learned for a famous or important place? That's right, landmark. The Eiffel Tower is a famous landmark in Paris, France. Sailors used to do what by the stars? What did they do with the stars before there was naval maps? They navigated. So sailors used to navigate by the stars. And finally, some gases are not visible. You can't see them. They are not visible. And finally, on the very last page of our worksheet, we are going to find our zodiac signs. So, when is your birthday? Let's find out and make our own zodiac card. So, what is a zodiac sign? Well, the zodiac is a belt of space around the Earth. This is the path that the sun appears to take around the Earth. 12 well-known constellations in the zodiac are the zodiac signs. So there's one, whoop, there's, man. The word zodiac means animal, as the Greek word zodion. So here we have different zodiac signs. There's Pisces, there's Cancer, there's Libra. Each one has its own sign or symbol. So which one is yours depends on your birthday. So it's different depending on which month and which date you were born. So for example, if you were born on February 28th, well, you were born between February 19th and March 20th, so you are a Pisces. So take a look at the chart to make your own zodiac card. I was born on August 16th between July 23rd and August 22nd, so I am a Leo. If you were born on February 28th, you are a Pisces. So don't forget to write your birthday, your zodiac sign, and draw your sign. Okay, that's all for today. Great job. See you next time.